Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys and dolls, your dogs, your cats, your hamsters, your family, everyone, welcome, warm welcome to the Late Night BS podcast with your host, Jakob, also known as Jakpu, and my co-host, Mostyn.
I am the legend known as Mostyn Farquhar. So yes, you met my charismatic host, as known as Jakob.
Hello guys.
I am Mostyn. You can call me whatever you want. So fuck, you decide in the comments what my name is. So you be creative. Don't pick anything like dickweed, which will probably be the top comment for now. So let's talk about the first topic which I have today, Mr. Host. Are you ready?
Not really, I don't know what your topic is. I'm afraid actually.
That's the joy of it. So guys, believe it or not, in Asia, there's such a thing as called the killer hornet. Think of a wasp which took steroids. You see Scott's out their front? That bigger than that. Fucking genetic freak right there. Okay? These wasps are huge. But they will kill you if you get stung. There's a good chance you'll die. So, it turns out in America, they decided, well, let's have some of our own killer hornets. And they got two from Japan, so there was nests in America. And guess what, Jakob? Do you know how they got rid of them?
No, I don't know. You know what I would do before? I'm sorry for interrupting you, but what I would do is very inhumane, but you know it gets the bastards. You get the deodorant can, you get the lighter, you get the Zippo. Boom, bitch! You flamethrower them out. That's what you do.
That would be a good idea, but deodorant's expensive and that. You know what I mean?
A can of Lynx costs 50p.
Oh,
you could have more tinnies if you spent 50p.
Big brain there, aye. But no, guess what they fucking used?
I don't know.
A vacuum cleaner.
What do you mean? Like a Hoover?
A Hoover, yes.
A Hoover.
Like Henry, yes. They used a Hoover going.
What the fuck?
I know, it's unbelievable. So they got a Hoover and they just sucked the wasps out of their nests.
No, killer hornets. You said they were killer hornets.
Killer hornets. But my brain's stupid, so I mixed up. But it's the hornets, yes.
But don't hornets usually kill people? No? Killer hornets. Would you not be shitting yourself to just go, trying to suck out a nest of like 1,000 hornets?
Mate,
they're there, they're like,
if I've
they're
got
trying to sting you.
Mate, if I've got a Henry Hoover, I'm not scared of anything. That machine can suck up anything.
It can suck some good dick.
But here's another interesting story. So, my father, my papa, he has a very interesting story he always told me about him and his experience of hornets. So, a hornet...
Sorry, excuse me. Hi guys, and welcome to the Hornet Podcast, sponsored by Bee Stings. Anyways.
So, yes. Hornet nests tend to be found on the floor. And they're quite rare, to be honest, in the UK. I've only seen once, but my dad was out with his mates and decided, oh, there's a hornet's nest. And obviously this was the 80s. You know what was in the 80s? What was in the 80s, Jakob?
Queen
and...
lots of drugs and sex.
Bingo.
What, really? Oh, okay.
Yes, well, there's a lot of drugs and also neon clothes. We should bring that back.
Oh, you're right. Neon clothes. Sorry, if I went to the 80s, I would just do loads of drugs and probably no sex. But I would love to meet Freddie Mercury.
Well, to be honest, we look so bland when we're black. The most bland colours. And I'm trying to be.
We literally look like the wall.
Yeah.
No racist remarks, but Scotland doesn't have much sun.
Yes. So my dad, he went into with his other mates, and he decided, oh, I wonder what I do if I go and kick the hornet's nest.
Jesus Christ.
And James decided, rather than just kicking, he jumped on top of it like, Peppa Pig, jumping on top of it up and down. And then the hornets, quite rightly so, were a bit pissed. So they went out and they chased them. So the three mates were like, oh, fuck. So they start to run and they're like, oh, come on.
Oh,
and then
hornets like,
yeah,
it's like the Bee movie.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder what goes on inside a bee's head? Come on! Okay.
And yes, they ran. And you know what's the most ironic part? So James stomped on it and got this hornet, and they came up and stung his two mates. One mate had over 30 stings. He had to go to the hospital. He was that close to dying.
Jesus and Buddha, everyone.
And the other one got 8, and it was quite painful.
No, 8, that's fine.
Right.
8 is fine.
While my dad, 0, my hero. He had 0. The man which did the damage got away with murder. It's unbelievable, lads. Jesus. So, lesson to you guys. If you got your friends out, and there's a hornet's nest, stomp on it. It won't hurt you, only hurt your friends. So think about that. So that makes an interesting experience. Especially, you get to go to A&E.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
So, Yakapu. If you were to know, that's his YouTube name. What is your interesting story of the day?
I don't have an interesting story of the day. However, we do have an interesting article which may lead in to something. Also, you guys, by the way, I did use the term tinnies before. The term tinnies to compare the cost of a Lynx can. So for our American audience, a Lynx is what you guys call Axe. It's the really cheap deodorant you buy that apparently makes you get girls, but it really doesn't. And also, tinnies is terms for beers. Most likely cheap beers, like a Tennent's. Tennent's, very Scottish beer. Men who beat their wives drink tinnies. That's just some Scottish lesson for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, so what we're moving on to today is some news. The news segment. Boop, 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 boop.
Meow. We want to do like, what is it? What was the song that they used to do? There's like BBC do 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 do. And there's a dong. Breaking news.
There's a dong.
There's a dong at the end.
I bet you'd love a dong at the end.
Oh yeah, it's Big Ben. Dong.
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 Okay,
Today.
right. Please let's say the news. These people are bored of us making weird sounds in their ears. To all our audio listeners, I'm very sorry. Video listeners might be kind of funny. All right, so we're gonna move into the news.
Wow.
So, Bill, also, listeners on video will be able to see what we're looking at. The article right here. So,
magic.
Builders' mission to prove houses are not haunted as Halloween approaches. Have you got creaking floorboards, weird sounding pipes? Tradesman Andy Sims has some good news if you're worried about ghosts in your home on October 31st as it gets closer. This is the man himself, I believe. So Mostyn, have you ever had a haunted house?
Well, believe it or not, this house is probably haunted.
Well, aside from the house we live in, which we'll get onto later.
Mate.
Have you ever had a house that was haunted?
To be honest, I've never really believed in ghosts. I think, in general, everything can be explained with logic and science. You know, when you're caught in the moment, if you watch a horror movie, the whole night, you know, you hear a little creaking, like, oh my goodness, there's someone in the house. I just think it's all psychological at the end of the day. There's some weird activities, but I think it can be all explained by science, to be honest. What do you believe in ghosts?
Well, actually, in fact, I'm not sure. I think something happens when you die, but I don't think that such things that are described as ghosts or specters or wraiths, anything like that, spirits, I'm not sure about the existence of those. But when we moved into this house, many of my beliefs have changed. I'm a man of science, but the tinfoil hat is coming out now because, for example, first night, we're sitting in this house watching a film. Boom, this is a locked whiskey cabinet right behind us, right? Probably don't even see the whiskey. The light is a bit bright in there, but you know, movies, whiskey, you know, the man's cabinet, right? Anyway, so this has a lock. I'll prove it to you guys right here on the Zoom in. This is the key, right? Whoever wants to steal from our house and forge, this is the key. So you have to open it, physically twist like this. I'll do listeners, sorry that you don't understand. And then you have to do this, right? Open my chair. You have to open it like this, right? So imagine this, we're watching a movie, you know, having a few whiskeys. That probably didn't affect our view of the world. Maybe it did.
Yeah.
Maybe it did. But we're just sitting here, and mind you, we left this locked. And then all we see, or I see, because Mostyn is watching the TV, is very slowly, this door creaks open from the whiskey cabinet. Literally very slowly. And the worst thing is it could have been a breeze because all the doors around us were closed, windows were closed, everything was closed. And, you know, to an engineer, I'm an engineer, Mostyn is also an engineer, funnily enough. Yeah, very weird. Two engineers living in the same house making a podcast. What would you do about it? Forget about it. But anyways, forget about it. I wish I could forget about the door because it just opened on its own. Just, I was like, Mostyn, did you see that? And he pretended he didn't, and I was quite literally shitting myself. But then he did agree that it happened, and ever since then we started looking out for weird things in this house that were happening. And to be honest, we've got a lot to speak about, Mostyn. Anything else that happens in this house apart from that weird door, which made me shit myself?
Alright, to start off, guys, from investigating this house has been on fire. You can tell there's soot in cupboards and that, so you can tell this house has been on fire. So it's had a bit of activity, let's say. The only weird stuff I really get is when I'm in the shower or in the toilet, the door randomly shakes, which I'm confused about because the windows are all closed. I don't know if it's him playing a prank.
Oh no.
Which is possible. And I think it's explainable, but the door just randomly shakes. That's the main thing I get. He is the one which gets all the weird stuff, Thomas.
No. The door shaking, I've experienced it too, Mostyn. And that's the weird part about this. Again, I don't believe in ghosts. Maybe this house has just got some strange ventilation or something. But the door, when you do take a shower, and mind you, one time this has happened to Mostyn when I was downstairs, and he shouted at me, "Stop shaking the door!" And I was downstairs. I ran upstairs. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" and then he just said, well, the door was shaking. Obviously not for the shower. He had come out at that point. He wasn't naked, just to make sure there's nothing going on here.
No, I was naked, guys. He's lying.
Well, the whiskies, they are
The
speaking. The whiskies are speaking. Yeah. But I've experienced it too, and quite honestly, it's pretty terrifying when just lavering up, listening to some music, whatever, just getting all washed and stuff,
Lavering up.
Yeah, I laver myself up. Yeah, I take care of myself. I use ladies' shampoo. That's right. Gets the good hair.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Here's an interesting fact you maybe didn't know, lads. Girls find, if you're interested, the most attractive fragrance smell is not actually, 007 Extreme Aftershave.
Yeah.
Or, you go boss, you want to be like Chris Hemsworth. Oh yeah. No. They find attractive other female perfumes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's the greatest con. So guys, if you want it, you need to put on female, like Daisy, whatever, Daisy's Extreme.
Daisy's Extreme Woman's
Yeah.
But see, I think there is a grain of truth in this. Sorry for switching. We're going to go back to the haunted house very soon, but I think there's a grain of truth in this because actually one of the aftershaves I wear that my girlfriend finds the most attractive, or the one that she likes because she seems to hate every other one, is actually a unisex aftershave by Calvin Klein. And it's called Calvin Klein Eternity. I think you may have heard of it, and is genuinely the same smell in the women's and females' bottles. They have different bottles, same smell, unisex aftershave. And do you know, it's like a girl's aftershave on steroids. Sorry, girls don't wear aftershave, they wear perfume. Same thing, you can have a man's perfume.
Well, it's rubbish, I think. I think deodorants are just unisex. It's stupid that it's just,
See, you have those like kind of gender stereotype smells. For example, a woman or a girl, you want to smell like flowers.
And then you want to smell rusty, oil, set on fire,
exactly,
fat, bacon. Yes, that's the smell.
I was thinking more like leather, tobacco, elk.
Elk meat, yeah.
Elk,
yes, Joe Rogan, yes.
Elk. No, I meant an elk, like the glands of the elk. They use it for male aftershave.
I didn't know that.
And beaver gland juice smells really good. They used to do in the medieval times. They used to catch a beaver, like finger its throat, and then you used to put it on the man. It was maybe finger the throat was a bad term, but they used to take the beaver's glands, resin, whatever it is in there, put on them. Got the ladies.
Well, to be fair, lads, if you are really struggling for a date,
just catch a fucking beaver.
Yeah, and there you go. You're sorted. You just finger its mouth, and you just become gorgeous. Quote of the day.
Finger a beaver's mouth, fantastic.
Yes.
Our PG rating is out of the window now.
Darn it! I wanted Hasbro to sponsor this podcast.
Yeah, same. So speaking about fingering, right? We're gonna move on to something haunted again, I think, unless you don't want to do that, Mostyn, because do you remember what happened in the house where we discovered what was under the carpet? Or would you like to speak a little bit more about the haunting before we get onto that?
Oh,
So maybe we can, kind of turn on the audience in the haunted way and tell them a bit more before we tell them the grand finale.
well, this house is built, I believe, in the 1920s. So
Before the war.
before the Second World War, but after the First World War. So this is the sort of in-between period, because there was some economic growth in the 1920s until the Great Depression hit us. But
We are speaking out Scotland, by the way. If you do see the little small bear at the front, he is holding a Scottish flag.
don't look at the Scots diner. We're
No,
not
Scots.
American.
Oh, yeah.
We're not. All right.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey. Yes, we're not the Americans, but aye. So, in general, this house is old and seen a lot. And in Glasgow, the city was always a bit behind compared to the rest of the UK for development. For example, the toilets were not installed in buildings until the 1960s,
70s actually in some places.
Yeah.
So generally what Mostyn's talking about is there was things called tenement flats in the UK, all of the UK, places like Bristol, Birmingham, but Glasgow's in Scotland. Tenement buildings, which basically means that several families would live in what now is classed as just, a single family flat in a building. And the worst thing about these buildings was it was pretty much mass housing, right? Because it was poor and people could afford housing. But the worst thing was, literally up until the 70s, the toilets were outside. Sometimes there were little toilet stalls, but most of the time it was just a hole in the ground that you would just do a squat poo in, right?
Nothing wrong with that. My dad lived on a farm. He had an out shack. Every morning he had to go. He had to go and empty the potties underneath the bed. Always the role of the youngest child, had to go and empty the potties underneath the bed. So you could imagine get your dad's dump, the solid turd. They used like cement, and you'd go and take it out and clean it out, and then bring it up.
Tasty.
So there you go. And then at the end, it depends how you do it. If it has drainage or it's just a massive hole. If it's a hole, you have to dig the hole, and then it lasts only for about 5 years, and then you need to move the bog again, cover that hole, and then make another hole for the bog. So there's an interesting fact for you guys.
A bog. So going back from this tangent about bog and poo, you were speaking about this house being built in the 20s.
Yes, so the 1920s. So this house, imagine, it's had a lot of experiences, and a lot of different families have lived through it. But there's one really weird thing. So we were taking up the carpet to go and look at installed an Ethernet cable upstairs, and we found a little trap door, which is
very small trap door.
Yeah.
For video listeners, this is genuinely about the size compared to my face. I don't know, smaller than a book.
Yeah.
Smaller than an A4 piece of paper.
And we opened Pandora's box, and we were able to see it was about, would you say, 7 foot, 8 foot drop?
Even more than that, to be honest. So what Mostyn's speaking about is we peeled back the carpet, obviously, to put the Ethernet cable up, and the tiny door, it was, how you have old houses, particularly in England, Scotland, are wooden panels, thick wooden panels. That's the floor, nothing else. No concrete, nothing like that, just thick wooden panels. And the builders must have left some kind of, trap door, I suppose. It was very small. I don't know what it could have possibly been for. Maybe it was rotted and they put another little square piece of wood, but it was awkward. Everything was old, and this was kind of like a new hinge, but they were old. They were falling apart, but it looked of a different period. Anyways, genuinely, yeah, we pried that up with a screwdriver, took it off, and not even 7-8 feet. I'd say more like 5 meters. It was genuinely a 5. So what's 5 meters? 5 meters would be.
Well, it's tall.
Oh, jeez.
I think that's a bit exaggeration.
No, it was more than a person tall down there.
But yeah. Imagine a room is probably about 8 foot average room.
Yeah, a room's 3 meters tall.
Yeah, so 8 foot. It's probably 10 foot, I would say. 10
yeah,
foot.
10 foot drop. Yeah, 4 meter drop, I'd say.
So it's pretty big, and we looked down and saw the torch, and it's obviously you've got access to it, because there's things down there like bags, duffel bags, and old kitchen appliances. So it's a way to get.
It's a basement, which we never knew existed in the house, mind you.
Yeah.
And in the UK, basements, or they're usually just crawl spaces, so they're a foot tall. You can barely
Mate,
fit inside.
You never hear anyone have basements in the UK.
No,
it's
basements.
just it's
the
just
UK is a
uncovered.
country of attics here. Attics.
Yeah, lofts.
Lofts.
That's the correct terms.
Loft.
But yeah, it's. I've never met anyone have a basement because I suppose it'll be cold all the time. Jeez, it's different in America because America you've got obviously the heat, so you need the stilts up to go and give you some cooling. But it's bloody cold here all the time. So yes, we want to make it as efficient as possible, so we don't want to waste energy with having a basement underneath. But yeah, it's just weird, to be honest, having a basement here, and also at that time you were just the things down there, Jesus.
Yeah, so what was more awkward is that one of the first things we saw was a reflection off of a knife that was down there. Then we saw the duffel bags. Then we saw some misplaced bricks, some bags, some like what was that material called? Like a cheesecloth. There was like a cheesecloth down there. It was basically the perfect horror murder hole where people would have been murdered. And it doesn't play too well with the fact that this house has been on fire before and nobody reported it to the council. But we found out there was literally soot everywhere in the walls. Where you look, there was like a little cleaner's cupboard. There's soot in the walls. We've had, when my dad's been in the house and checked it, he said this is what houses on fires look like. And his brother is a builder, so I suppose maybe that's kind of good knowledge maybe. But
Expert,
you could touch the finger of your wall and there's soot there, and there wasn't a fireplace there before because it was under the stairs, the soot, and genuinely in the other rooms you see soot as well. So this house has been on fire at some point. And after we moved into this house, Mostyn actually looked at something quite interesting on Zoopla, I think it was. It said unrecognized activity, something along those lines.
It's not Zoopla, but it's a website you can check, and it's quite interesting. But it tells you if if the house has been haunted or anything like that. So you can go and see if it has activities or anything like that. If you want to, it's one good thing you should do before getting a house is actually look up. But
histories.
We're stupid. But yeah, it just says it's unreported strange activity in the house,
which may or may not be haunted.
Yes. So that was what was a bit terrifying to think about, but it's just what happens, I still don't believe that there's ghosts. I just think everything can be explained. The house has had a lot of history.
I don't think particularly that the ghosts are the scary part here, because I think we should move up to the attic and what things we found in the attic in this house. Mind you, we have never, ever met our landlord before. This has all been online, all through the agency, everything. And there's some weird things here. First of all, in the shed, there's several saws, fit for a serial killer. Several tools that have never been used, just never. So, probably not a killer, but we'll move on to tell you what does make it seem like a killer's house.
Yeah.
Austin, what would you like to say about the time that we went up to the attic?
Went up to the attic. It's a bit weird of attic. It has a 2-story attic, so it's got a ladder up to the other floor.
Well, first of all, the attic does not have a normal fold-down ladder. It's just a latch in the ceiling that you have to open up barely enough for a human's width and the ladder.
Most don't have the latch which folds down the ladder.
Well, my house does.
Well, you're a rich house.
Well, not my house here. My house in my parents' house in another place.
Yeah. Well, most of them don't, Jacob. It's because it's expensive.
I'm used to the American ladder thing.
Yeah, it's your American house with your basement and ladder. But we went up there. I kid you not. It was 2 stories. There's a floorboard.
No lights. We're using a flashlight here to see.
There's random stuff dotted everywhere. There's no flooring. Well, there's a little wooden plank you can go across. But it's dangerous. If you fall, you're through the ceiling.
There's nails everywhere sticking out. No flooring, just fiberglass insulation. Pink, mind you, looks very edible, very tasty. I know this was meant to be scary, now it sounds tasty, but there's genuinely just a very small plank there. And there was stuff, but the weirdest stuff was, as Mostyn said, it's a 2-story attic. So there's a first story, which is just, the beams of the house that support the roof, things like that, of course, the ceiling beams. And then the isolation, things like that, and then at the end it kind of looks like some weird barn kind of. It's got a wooden structure that almost looks like it should be a second floor. It's got a very small ladder up to like a child-sized ladder up there.
Yeah.
And it looks like a kind of bunk bed structure at the end of the attic, the very deep, dark end.
Thomas, I think that the loft was used back in the day for families. I think families lived in, So it's terrifying, and the best part of all is there's a massive hole to next door neighbours, just holes in the wall. So and it looks like it's been smashed with a sledgehammer or something like that.
So it doesn't look like natural decay. So to put this in perspective here, maybe Mostyn made it sound weird, but the walls that segregate the two houses. We lived in a house that's co-joint to another house. Very popular in the UK to have houses like that. It's called semi-detached. So
wow.
Yeah, I know, architecture lesson right here. So there's a brick wall dividing the two houses, usually granite, anything, brick in our case, and it does look like at the wall, but only the wall in the attic, it's smashed through, and it's like the perfect shape of a person. It's like almost a secret hidden doorway in the corner, the darkest corner at the top of that little ladder. So it looks like almost like a crawl hole to get into the other side of the house, and yeah, it's kind of strange. It looked pretty spooky at night. Yeah,
well, and things, it looks scary, but every attic looks scary. If you think about it, there's not really such thing as a nice attic, is there?
Unless it's been a loft conversion.
Well, that's
and you've
true.
got TV and the football. You can watch football in the loft.
Aye, football. Yes, but Jesus, it's a weird. It's a weird house, but it's nice knowing that you have other friends as ghosts around you.
Yeah. Mind you, first time we moved in here, it looked like it hadn't been lived in for, let's say, 15 years. There was dust an inch thick on the appliances. It was an inch thick on all the drawers, everything like that. And the agency said it's been professionally cleaned, mate. Ah, yeah, the walls have been painted, everything's clear. Even to add to the ghost story, in our living room currently, where we are right now, there was an ancient, well, not ancient, but 1700s slavery picture, which was great to see, and it just adds to the history of this house. So it's probably haunted by whoever had that picture, which is great, you know. Just love to have some ghosts.
It's horrible sometimes. That picture.
Love to have a slave driver ghost as well, the worst kind.
Yeah, but you know what we done, guys? The big FU to the slave host. We've got a big poster of Muhammad Ali up there.
We did. We threw away the slave poster, the slave dogs. I put up Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, the greatest, I would argue, the greatest man who's ever lived, Muhammad Ali.
Greatest athlete of all time.
No, greatest person, maybe even civil rights, the man. You know, through his boxing career, you know, he was the greatest. He was the most prettiest. He was everything. You know, everybody wanted to be Muhammad Ali. The man, you know, he got drafted to go to Vietnam, which was controversial. The man would not have, you know, if he went sent to Vietnam, his job would have been just punch people in the face, expedition. He would not need to hold a gun. But it was against his religion, you know, his Islam, Islam. And he said, nope, I'm not. And he chose to give up the thing he loved the most just to respect his religion. And through that, he, you know, did civil rights, fought for equality and that. And, you know, and talked about how Islam's not evil religion and all that, which is pretty remarkable. I think Thomas Muhammad Ali is the greatest. There's no question about it.
What about Danny DeVito, though?
Well,
he's a competitor to the greatest man who's ever lived.
Yes, he is. Yes.
But on a more serious note, Muhammad Ali is the greatest.
So I've convinced you.
Like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Yeah.
Yes, the classic phrase. Yes.
Yeah.
He's very famous for, you know, his quotes. If you need...
Just dance like a butterfly. Fly like a butterfly.
No, it's... I fly like a butterfly. I fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his classic famous quote. You listen to any Muhammad Ali interview and you guys will be inspired. You will go out and go for a run and run, 20 miles.
That's true. Mike Tyson knockouts are quite stunning, but Muhammad Ali, much better. Sorry, Mike Tyson. You are the greatest boxer of all time, I think, Mike Tyson. However, Muhammad Ali, as an individual,
Come on,
for his time.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather is probably, you could argue he's the greatest boxer.
Well, you could
He's
argue many
undefeated.
boxers are the greatest boxers.
He's undefeated.
The Gypsy King could be the greatest boxer of all time. Anyone.
Yes,
but I'm just kidding. I'm not putting any of these men above each other. Everybody is an inspiration. Everybody. Even the Gypsy King, the man who looks like he drinks tinnies every day. All of them are an inspiration.
To be fair, quote unquote, guys, all of them could defeat us with both the hands tied back. They just Mike Tyson stare.
You're dead.
You're dead.
You look at him, you just flop.
You flop. You got no chance against him. Yeah. That's Mike Tyson was talking about. It's all psychological. That's how you win the fight. Because back in the day, when I was a young fit loon, I used to compete in mixed martial arts competitions and that. And I remember my dad saying before a competition, right, you're going to watch Muhammad and then watch Mike Tyson fight. And you watch what he does into the ring. The man, he's emotionless. He walks down that ramp and he goes and gets in the ring, motionless, takes off his top and then just stares, looks at the athlete and go backward and forward, and keeps staring at him. It doesn't matter. Keeps going. And if that person breaks, looks away, Mike Tyson's won the fight already. You did that. That's how I won my competition. I did that, and then I won the guy. I beat the slightly chubbier man than me, but
fat man. You do refer to that man as the fat man.
Yeah.
Fat man, if you're listening, you got owned by Mostyn.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I competed in one competition, won it, and then retired. So technically undefeated right here, but I don't think I will ever go back because mainly injuries, old, slow, and also I don't want to become Rocky Balboa with my face right. I want my face to be
Hey, Rocky, what's a face?
I
do love Rocky.
Who doesn't love Rocky? We've got Rocky right there.
We've got Rocky right there. Yeah, I see it. I just pointed out Taxi Driver, great film as well, but we do have Rocky in there. The whole collection. In fact, Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5, and Rocky Balboa, now brought to you on VHS.
VHS. Yeah. What's the best Rocky movie?
Oh jeez, I don't know. This is going to be a controversial opinion. I quite enjoyed Rocky 2.
Rocky 2 a lot of people like.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird. I like Rocky for the obviously communism against capitalism. That film ended the Cold War.
Yeah.
It was
that film is what ended the Cold War. It's a well-known fact.
It's true. Without Rocky on our side, we'd never beat the communists.
Why did you point at me when you said communist, Mostyn?
Well, you were a communist back in the day.
I am a communist right now, am I?
Oh.
I see.
Sure.
So basically, I think Mostyn's saw me peeling potatoes today, and he thinks I'm a communist. So if those are his views on politics, if you agree with his views on politics, that peeling potatoes is in fact communist, phone 999-369-999 today.
Yeah. If that's because through capitalism, you should make someone buy the potatoes already peeled.
Well.
Yeah.
This is a bit too political for my liking. You're in my bubble.
My bubble. Another thing that I like is Rocky 3. Because you got Mr. T and Hulk Hogan in the same movie.
Okay. Rocky 3 as a meme, yeah it's amazing. You see, Hulk Hogan compared to Sylvester Stallone looks massive.
It's okay.
It looks like you could throw him to the moon.
He looks like his dad. It's like a dad versus son. He lifts him and throws him around. Yeah. Jesus.
Contrary to popular belief, Sylvester Stallone is not a tall man.
Oh, he isn't. I think he's only. Pull up, Jamie.
Jamie?
Yes.
Why is my name Jamie?
That's going to be your new name now.
Right, thank you.
But yes.
To get rid of my communist Polish name, you're going to call me Jamie?
Ouch, I never said that.
Well, that's what you're saying, so...
Well, that's interesting. But no, I reckon he'll be...
Sylvester Stallone is 1.77 m, which is, 5 feet 10 inches, about?
Jeez, he's a small man. You're 6'2", I'm 6 foot.
Wow, subtle flex there, Mostyn. You know, we get Tinder dominance right here. 6 foot Tinder dominance.
Aye. Well, it's weird. Every girl.
We could speak about this now, actually. What is up with the height requirement thing on Tinder? Why do girls require you to be a tall man when the average height is, I think in Scotland, is 5'8"?
Yeah, it's for a man, it's quite low, but I don't know.
The average man is 4 inches too small for the average woman here. Why?
I don't know. It's always a weird
Why?
requirement. My brain is confused. To be honest, I don't know why it's such a difference in height. It doesn't make sense. 6 foot is like a weird number if you think about it. It's if you put in centimeters terms.
183, I think.
Yeah, 183, around about that. But if you put that, you know, if I said I was 182, 1 centimeter less, people wouldn't care. But then if I say I'm 5'11", everybody thinks I'm small. You know, that's just how it works. It's just there's a.
I was wrong. Yeah, 183, bang on. 6 foot is 183.
There you go. So, but it just doesn't make sense. If I was a centimeter smaller, no one would give a damn. You know, if I said I was
182, 183, all the same.
But when you say 6 foot, it's just that magic threshold.
It's the magic number.
Yeah,
exactly.
It just doesn't make sense to me. But it's a requirement. If you don't say you're 6 foot, you're out of the running, mate.
I suppose in Europe, when you say you're over 180 centimeters, are considered from average to tall, and then when you're over 190, you're very tall.
Yeah. That's weird. We've got a very hybrid. We're hybrid metric and imperial here.
No, just metric. I suppose the height is one of the only imperial things.
You got the speed.
Miles per hour.
Miles per hour.
Right.
Oil industry tends to work all in imperial.
Gallons.
Yeah. So it's weird. You've got a hybrid. You've got speed. People use it all the time.
Pints.
Inches.
Denny's!
Aye.
Pints, mate!
It's. I think there was. I forgot the guy. It was a professor scientist, and he talked about
Very reputable source.
very reputable source. He said.
Scientist.
He said that he was comparing Britain and Canada, because Canada is also metric as well as Britain. Pretty much the whole world's metric besides America. I think Malaysia. Don't quote me. I think it's Malaysia. You know, tell me the wrong in the comments, but I don't care. So
if you want to tell Mostyn you're wrong, you better 5-star review this podcast on iTunes right now.
Or
that's what it's still called. Is it still called iTunes?
You're the tech.
Apple Podcast. Actually,
Yeah.
It's called Apple Podcast. 5-star review on Apple Podcast. You better review this highly on Google. This is going to be available everywhere. Trust me. Boom, baby. Forget about it. Everywhere. YouTube right now, if you're watching. Spotify, if you're listening to Apple Podcasts. We're going to read out the 5-star reviews. So if you want to tell him he's wrong, you better leave a 5-star review.
That's good. I like that idea. I think, guys, if you put a 5-star review and put interesting lines, and then we'll go and read them out. And also, put impression at the end. See if we want to try a voice. We'll fail, but we'll try.
Put something like Mostyn's an asshole, and I can't resist him for some reason. But put in Joe Pesci's voice, you know? Like, hey Mostyn, you're an asshole, but I can't resist you, hey! You know, I'm shit at voices, so it'll be great watching it.
And you can do the same with him. You can say, look at that small lanky man. But you can say it in the macho man voice. Oh yeah, look at that small lanky man. Oh yeah. That's shite as well.
I think the audience has already been ear fiddled.
Yeah, I think the ears are bleeding right now. That's how good it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, my ears have just committed suicide.
So, Jesus.
If you're a boomer, that's from a meme. It's a very funny meme.
We're all boomers.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before? Jesus.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you interrupted my story.
What were we talking about? We're the boomers. We can't remember what we were speaking about 10 minutes ago.
To be fair, I've got numerous concussions from MMA.
Haunted house, MMA, you were fighting a fat man. Tinnies. Units of measurements is what we're speaking about. Height. Tinder dominance, height, units of measurement.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
See, look how professional we are, guys. We've got a big script along the side of ours.
Yeah, a big script of my hands and my memory. By the way, in case anyone thinks it's scripted, nothing is. There's just a natural flow of conversation between two man, not so man.
You know, if you
individuals.
say that we're not scripted, we are scripted then.
Well, that's the conspiracy theory. Get your tinfoil hats out and see if we're scripted or unscripted, because you'll never know.
You never know. Yeah, you see
In
you
all
can't see the
honesty,
paper here.
I really can't be bothered to script. See, I'm going to prove this to you by talking to the side right now, because you can't even hear it. See? I'm joking.
Maybe he's got flash memory, like
Yeah, I
flash.
do. Actually, the script is right there. Yeah, it's on the wall. No.
That's what I always got told by like a presentation. I remember I was part of the cadets, and I remember this angry officer, saying, "Oh, mate, okay, you're gonna do a presentation. You make all the paper behind you, okay?" And I was like, "Okay, that's a good idea, but the presentation I'm doing is about 40 meters away, the wall at the back." It's like, "Write it big, big writing, big writing." I was like, "But starters, I'm blind, and also it's 40 meters away." It's like, big writing, big.
So you're like font size 72, trying to give a presentation to 100 people, and then you can fit 10 words on the wall?
That's
10
all it
words
needs.
that you can read? Like, hello, this is my presentation. Oh shit, I've run out of words! You just run off hitting yourself in the head like Rain Man.
Do you know the famous Sony conference they had at E3?
Yes.
They had a conference against Sega, and Sega was like, "Wow, look at our console." They had like a half-hour presentation that said £499, great price, and that. Sony walks up and says, "Right, hello, $399," and walks away. That's all you need to do. You just say one-liner.
Beat the price.
Yes.
See, we're beating the price of premium podcasts by being free to listen to for you to enjoy for your ear holes and your eye holes, because you're using your eyes sometimes as well to do guys.
Well, in the future, we'll learn sign language, and we'll go and use the podcast in sign language.
I wish,
No,
but
we're not smart enough.
I can't learn barely 2 languages, and a third is too much.
What you got?
Well, you only know 1 language.
Well, I've got the Orcadian.
Spierdalai. That means hello, nice to meet you in Polish.
Hiya, mate! You know what the currency is here?
That is!
Denny's. You know what the currency is? Before the pound sterling? It was sheeps and frets, okay? 2 sheeps, and I'll whip your candy ass if you don't give me the Denny's tonight.
I see that was Mostyn's impression of a Scottish man. We're going to get banned. Thank you for listening. The supporters of certain 2 football teams are coming to our house. I can hear the riots from a mile away. It was good knowing you, Mostyn. Guns are illegal in the UK. We can't save ourselves. Scott Steiner is very small. He can't save us either.
He's a genetic freak, is he?
Yeah, but he's small. We only have a figurine. We don't have the real Scott Steiner.
The numbers don't lie, and it spelled disaster for me, and at sacrifice, I'll die.
Okay, audio listeners, that was really weird for you. Moving on.
Yes, moving on to the next subject, mate. Moving on. Did you know, here's an interesting fact, my family were part of the gangs, the gangsters.
What gangs? Is this because I mentioned Joe Pesci once? No, it's not gangs.
Well, I was thinking about Goodfellas, you know, the gangs and that.
My favourite film of all time, yes, Goodfellas. Speak any wrong of it.
It's
And
pretty
they'll be
masterpiece.
sleeping with the fishes.
I'm trying to think, my favourite film, jeez, it changes all the time. I would say maybe Shawshank Redemption, maybe the top.
That's a good film.
It's a good film. I also like American Psycho as well a lot. I like Christopher Bale's Apes.
Yeah.
Apes.
Yeah. No homo, because the film. Yeah.
Well,
But maybe full homo. That's fine as well.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, my family's originally from Orkney. For you American listeners, it's
I love how every time we say something about Scotland, we say, for you American listeners, as if they're just all dumb and don't have any idea of any culture outside of America.
well, no, it's not that, because not even Scottish people know this island, Orkney.
That's true, actually.
I have to love
It's like a hidden gem.
It's gorgeous, that island. If you ever want to go there, I would highly recommend it. But for you Americans, Orkney is Scotland's Hawaii, okay? Think about that.
Sure.
It's the island which is
Except
about...
it rains.
And also, there's no trees in Orkney as well. It's weird, yeah. Orkney has 0 trees at all. Do you know why?
Nope.
It's the Vikings. The Vikings cut them all down and
Build boats.
boat.
Did I guess?
Yeah.
Oh.
They cut them all down, and ever since then, they could never. It's so windy up there. They can't plant new trees, but the new trees will just fly away. So think about it. An Orkney kid.
Wait, how does a new tree fly away? Sorry.
It can't. Needs how it works. You need the old trees to go around and support the new ones.
Yeah, with the root
Yeah.
networks.
Yeah.
And everything.
But that provides it shelter and that. But the issue is there's no networks from it. So think about it, a kid in Orkney. They learn through the textbook what a tree is. They see pictures of trees in textbooks. They don't go outside and play with a tree.
They've never seen a tree.
No, it was so disastrous. I think they built a greenhouse which has a special tree which is kept in special climate and everything, so they can just let the kids see a tree. It's unbelievable.
So wait, you can't go to a shop and buy like a small miniature tree to put in your house?
Well, you could, but it'll be flown away next day. The winds are unbelievable.
Do they not have trees at Christmas? Do they not use Christmas trees?
Yeah, well, it's artificial. They can't get trees.
That's strange.
It's weird to think about, but yes. Getting back to the story. So, believe it or not, back in the 1940s and that, my great-granddad, he was living in Orkney, and at the time, there was nothing up there. Think about, Orkney tends to be 50 years behind the rest of the UK. So, in the 70s, no one had driving licenses up in Orkney. There was just no law enforcing it, so people just like, well, I don't need to learn. They just drove without a driving license. But yeah, so they tend to be a bit behind. But my family, he was living in a house, and the 1940s. What was happening in the 1940s, Jacob?
I don't know, Mostyn. The 1940s is a period of history that I never actually learned about. No, I'm joking. It's one of my favorite times of history. It's pretty much the climax of the Second World War, the 1940s.
Climax.
Yeah, the one year climax. Yeah.
Yeah, ended in 1940. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was a quick war. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a quick war. Yeah. 39 to 40. Yeah.
I remember Neville Chamberlain sending a letter to Hitler saying, "Leave Poland," and he's like, "Okay."
Do you know what screws up with my history about World War II? Because Hearts of Iron for the game starts in 1936, for some reason I always think that's when the war starts, but that ain't true. 1939.
1939 to 1945.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Remember that in the history books. That's when the European war started. Yeah.
Well, it was international.
Well, it was, but...
Yeah, all the British colonies joined in the war.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That's true.
But back to the story. So World War II was happening, and yes, this part of the story is important, but leads into later. And basically, they dropped a bomb in Orkney. We don't know why. I suspect because they were aiming.
Who dropped a bomb in Orkney?
Well, the Germans.
Oh, the Germans?
The Germans. I don't think the Italians did it.
Oh, I don't know.
And I think...
La Ferrari bomber.
The Ferrari bomber. The Germans dropped a bomb. I think they were aiming to hit Scapa Float, which was the naval base which had a lot of ships for Britain.
Scottish base.
Yes, Scottish base.
I'm joking. Yeah.
And but instead it hit.
Was it not the second biggest port for the Royal Navy at that point?
I think
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it was the biggest.
It was. I thought it was their backup port.
It was the reserve fleet.
If all the ships in England got sunk, that was the reserve fleet.
Yeah, it was the reserve fleet, but it had like 80 ships.
Yeah, that's
It was
bigger than Germany's fleet was at that point. I'm pretty certain.
Britannia ruled the waves. But yeah, they missed and hit him instead. His next door neighbour got hit with a... Wait,
hit your granddad?
Yes.
Oh.
It dropped bomb.
So they missed Scotland and hit your granddad. That's a big miss.
Yeah.
that's a big miss by the Germans.
See, that's because they didn't use NordVPN.
Yeah.
I don't know how
I
that
wish we were sponsored by NordVPN.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah. They dropped the bomb and his next door neighbour got hit by the metal in the face. Dead.
Great to know.
And instead the metal hit his legs. So that was not too good for his legs, and he was pretty much unable to serve during the war because he got metal plates in his legs, and afterwards he wore slippers all the time. If it was raining, he wore the slippers. If it was snowing, he wore slippers. If it was sunny, he wore slippers. He just wore slippers all the time, and they were always gold. Okay?
Gold slippers.
Yeah.
A gold color, like velvet or something.
Yeah. No, gold. It was gold.
Like solid gold.
I don't know. I haven't
Okay.
seen these slippers myself.
Golden. Okay.
The issue is, guys, the story of this is so weird because only way he can get a story is I've got this from folks and other folks, and they've combined it into one story for me. This is how I've been told.
Folklore.
Yeah, I've only got 2 photos of my great granddad as well. 2, so I don't have much information to go by.
So one when he was just minding his own business, and the second one there's just a German bomber just aiming for Scotland, and it goes, and then takes like a cartoonish turn, and then hits his neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, you can pull up the article, type in up golden slipper, and show that you can get a photo of him. Yeah. So he was so during the 1950s, pretty much after the war, when it all ended happy days, he opened up a little pie business, which, true entrepreneur. Then suddenly, Orkney, being an island and that, the men getting drunk a little bit, a bit tipsy, too much tinnies, and the wives weren't too happy.
Sorry, mind you, the first article that pulls up when you type in this is the Al Capone of Orkney.
Yes, the Al Capone of Orkney. That's his nickname. Well, that's the play. That's not a photo of him. He didn't have clothes.
There's a play of your granddad.
It was a play made of him, yes.
Interesting.
Toured around the whole of the UK. Yes. So, in the 1950s, they had...
Oh, wow.
You
May I interact? May I
Yes.
interrupt? Farquhar, which is his last name, mind you, so I'm believing this. Farquhar's status as a local legend was further enhanced when in March 1940 he became one of the first civilian casualties of the Second World War. German plane returning from a raid of Scap to Flow, jettisoned its bombs and killed a young man only yards away from the man. Farquhar himself suffered 38 shrapnel wounds.
Yes.
And proudly told anyone who would listen that had been the exact number of holsters and stormers before it had been declared dry. Huh. Oh.
That's what I'm talking about. Orkney became dry, which, so it was not too popular with the folk. In America, they weren't too happy when America went dry.
Yeah.
Al Capone said prohibition. Being my granddad, an entrepreneur, decided, well, let's go and get some alcohol from Scotland, mainland Scotland, and take it to Orkney and sell it. And he funneled it through his pie business.
That you mentioned before.
Yes. So people go and ask, go and write a list, an order for him. They didn't call him up. They sent him a list and said, I want a odd name for a pie, which is not in the menu, but that pie means very fresh pie, but that meant vodka. So you make the pie topping and then put the vodka in the pie, and then the person would get the pie with the vodka. It's quite ingenious, a way to hide it. And he did this for many couple years. And made a lot of money. And, the way he got away with it, he just bribed the police and Orkney police because they wanted to be drunk as well.
Back in the day. Hey, don't worry about it. I'll get you a pie. Hey.
Aye. So they got the pies and they gave it to, and everybody was quite happy. But mainland Scotland wasn't too happy because they made that rule and, had to get permission and all that from the government. And they're not obeying it. So the police in Scotland were like, okay, we've had enough. I will send up a couple officers to sort this out. So they sent up a couple officers and straight up there, and they said, right, we're going to go and catch this man, okay? This is, so they had,
Wait, this World War II wounded man, 38 shrapnel wounds, walks around in slippers everywhere. They're after him.
Yes. They're after him. The pie shop was called the Golden Slipper. That's the reason why it was his slipper.
It's golden slippers.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, guys, we'll go and catch him. I don't know how true this story is. The weird thing is you cannot search this up. There's articles about it, but there's not really a clear timeline. Okay? Not even my dad knows it, so it's weird. But one night, they were like, okay, guys, we need to get evidence and proof, so we're going to go and break in. So they had the head of Orkney police and the 2 hardened Scottish police officers with them. Like, right, we're going to catch them this time, okay? Because you need to get evidence, catch them that, because they were having a party that night. Yeah, they were having a party. They could hear the music. Like they're standing outside the doors. Right, guys, we're gonna go and raid. And the head of police said, "I'll go in first, then you guys come in afterwards, okay?" You know, they're finally gonna catch the Al Capone of Orkney. And they're like, 1, 2, 3, bang, through the door. Then a couple seconds later, the head of police came out the door and said, "All right, lads, need to go away. We're not going it tonight. We
Why?
didn't." And then the head of the Scottish police like, "What the fuck are you talking about, mate? Why? We've got the perfect opportunity to catch him red-handed." Alright, let's play a little game. Guess the reason why that head of police decided to leave that pub. The party.
Mr. Farquhar, the wounded war vet, was holding a light machine gun up against the door and he was waiting for it to happen. He was barred, armed to the teeth, mate. He had body armor on, machine gun, everything. He was holding a Lewis gun.
Yes, he was Peaky Blinders. Yes, he was. Then
So
just
no.
shot. No.
So no.
Well,
I'm
it'll be
not
really
sure.
interesting.
They were having a party, right?
They were having a party.
Yes.
What usually happens at a party? Think, come on, use the gears. I can hear grinding and turning.
I can't hear my brain because it's turned off.
Turn.
What happens? Well, drinking happens, but I assume here it's pie eating.
They have the pie eating competition.
They're eating pies filled with rum.
Yes. So they got. Turns out the head of police daughter was there.
At the party.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not the worst part. The worst part was she was dancing naked on top of the table.
Oh no! No, gee, wow.
Imagine. Imagine that.
Is this what strippers like do?
And
Okay.
and the head of police was like, "Well, if I go in, I would have to arrest my daughter, put her to jail." It's like, let's just be a
The
nightmare.
man's seen his daughter with her tits out. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, Playboy, I suppose. Yeah.
Incest is wincest, am I right?
And they got and convinced him, got away, and I was like, well, screwed, Jesus. And he kept running this business, and they're like, what we're gonna do? How we're gonna get rid of him? Turns out the man himself, when he was making the pies, were not past the health and safety guidelines. That, you know, he probably cleaned the knife under his armpit and just like,
Oh, jeez.
and soon enough, one of the kids, I believed, who had a legit pie, because he also sold legit pies.
Real pie.
Real pies. I think got
Steak,
food
ale pie, chicken pie,
Aye. The classic pie.
haggis pie.
Apple pie. Aye.
Apple pie?
I
It's not really a Scotch pie.
I
Mince pie.
was sure.
Just pie.
I just pies.
Just pie.
I just pie.
Sausage pie.
Yes, a sausage pie. Well, the kid got food poisoning. I don't know if he got died or what happened, but obviously the police was like, well, we've got an excuse to go and explore. Broke in the house and looked around and like, well, this doesn't make health and safety standards. And then they looked underneath his bed and it was like, look at all those titties.
Tennies.
Aye.
I can just imagine it's like in Raiders of the Lost Ark when they go and see the Ark and just everything is all the gold and everything, or what in Indiana Jones when they're in the secret deposit where they keep all the artifacts, just the boxes and boxes and boxes forever. You know?
Yeah, it's just all the tinnies.
Yeah.
It was all the tinnies everywhere, and it was like, look at all those tinnies. And I was like, well, he's fucked there, is he?
Again, English lesson, tinnies meaning alcohol.
Yeah. So they had all the alcohol there, and it's like, well, we're taking you to court. So they took him to court, and they're like, well, Mr. James. Yeah, his name's James, I think. It was James.
It's in the article, his name
James.
somewhere.
Yeah. Jesus, that's bad.
You don't know your great granddad's name.
Yes. What's your great granddad's name then?
Oh jeez, I don't know.
That's bad.
Probably something like Wilfred. I don't know. I never met my great grandparents.
Oh.
My great grandma died the day before I was born. Fun fact. So she never got to see me.
But-
That's really sad, actually. I don't know
Well,
why I said
I
that.
won't spoil the story, but yeah.
It says Farquhar.
Pull up the site so they can see. You're not
Magnus
being mean on them.
Festival. I know.
You went to that audience,
They're gonna be able to. Ooh, I'm moving the camera. Ooh.
Ooh.
they're going to be able to read the things that we're not going to be able to read, and it's going to make them very disappointed in us.
Oh, we can't read. It's fine.
Sweet Son Emily.
Willie Farquhar.
Willie, yeah, it says Willie used to
Willie
Farquhar.
Aye, that was his name. That was bad, guys. Sorry, Willie. He got took down to Aberdeen High Court, and he got found guilty for his crimes, and then afterwards,
crimes of selling tinnies inside pies.
Yes, and also food poisoning, and he got sent to prison. I think he got fined. After that, my granddad felt he was an embarrassment to Orkney and moved down to Aberdeen, and then that's my family lived there for the rest of their life. Yes, but my granddad was ashamed. We thought we were ashamed, we thought, well, this man, was breaking the law and breaking the rule of his. But the funny thing is now, there's a stained glass window of him in Orkney.
A stained glass? What do you mean, like in a cathedral?
In a church, yeah. It's a picture of golden slippers.
Is he holding a tinny?
I wish it was. No, it's the golden slippers, and it's. I'll pull up a photo and you can overlay it. But yes, you could see him. It's the golden slipper, and it's celebrated in Orkney, and this is like the golden gate card. So whenever my dad was up there, he would. For example, he would go and maybe go fishing and that, and the guy would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's no." I think that's it there. Yeah, you see
Woolly.
That's not it. But that's the photo of him. That's a real photo. Yeah, that's a real photo of him.
Okay, we'll pull that up right here for you.
So.
Wow, that's the man himself.
Yeah, that's the man himself. People always say he looks a bit of a girl with his skirt.
Look at this, people. Our specialty home-baked biscuits. This man right here. Al Capone.
Al Capone of Orkney. Yes.
Look at that.
Scarface himself.
Yeah. That's him right there. Anyway, so we were saying there's a stained glass window. Couldn't unfortunately find a picture of that.
Yeah.
Probably quite rare to see that on Google, but there's a picture of the man himself.
The man himself, exactly. Well,
that's your great-granddad. That's weird to think.
No, you can tell we're quite
Orkney
related.
Al Capone.
You can see we've got the same, look the same.
Yeah, you're both human.
Well, he's probably human, I'm not. He's an alpha male. Jesus, 38 shrapnel.
38 shrapnel.
Jesus.
Is his skin made of Kevlar?
Appears to be.
Yeah.
My dad, was going to go fishing, and the guy said, "Sorry, mate, there's no boats. They're all out today." And my dad was like, "Oh, it's a shame. My granddad used to fish here. My Willie used to fish there." I was like, "Oh, you're the grandson of Willie Farquhar." I was like, and there was an American family over there going to get the boat out, and he's like, "Oh, you guys, stop, okay, right, stop." And they said, "Sorry, this boat is ready rented out." I was like, "But we paid your money." "Oh, no. This man gets it." And he kicked off Americans off the thing, and they were. Yes, he felt like, a gangster. Felt so powerful there.
Picking up the boat from the Americans because you're the grandson of a man who used to deal tinnies and pies. That's some respect.
Yes. Very spicy. So that's a wee interesting fact about my family. I've got other weird, wonderful stories. It appears my family has a lot of interesting stories. About your family?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next segment, guys.
I do have a family. It's just not very much happened in communist Poland or post-communist Poland. Just not very much happened. Actually, I have a few stories, but that's for another time, actually.
Another time, exactly. No, I wanted something to discuss about. Okay. We watched American Psycho a couple of nights ago. And I want to discuss end this debate. This will be the last topic.
This is the last topic.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up here right now.
Yeah.
Slightly over an hour, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. So
American Psycho. Yeah.
Don't know where this came from, but American Psycho.
I don't know why. Maybe my granddad, Willie was like, the 6-pack shredded man, and he was like murdered.
Selling the pies.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't watched American Psycho, watch it. It's good. It's on Netflix. It's a movie with Christopher Bale. It's his breakout role, but it's about a yuppie who is so powerful and influential he can get literally away with murder. But the question is, do you think that all this is true? Do you think he actually did the murders?
He murdered all the people.
Yeah.
In American Psycho.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he only killed Paul Allen. Because the only investigation was done by the police was into Paul Allen.
Yeah.
But it's just weird, the story. If you need to watch it, guys. But there's so much.
It gets more and more twisted as the film goes along.
Yeah.
For example, when he goes up, Christopher Bale, when he goes up to a cash machine, and the cash machine tells him, "Feed me the stray cat," and there's a cat there. And he picks up the cat and the bank machine is telling him, "Feed me a stray cat." That's not normal.
No.
That's all in his imagination. Imagine if a bank machine just told you, "Feed me a stray cat."
Like, maybe that's the future of bank deposits.
Anyways, yeah.
But yeah,
I can see where your figure's going.
well, the thing is, it was weird things like that. And also, it was like a Arnold action movie 80s, just explosions, shooting everyone. He didn't get hit.
He shot a pistol at a police car and it exploded. And the fact that in the late part of the movie he gets away with killing police officers and killing the clerk, the frontman of a hotel and of his apartment building, and nothing seems to happen is just kind of unbelievable. Or the scene where he throws a chainsaw down the stairwell to get the girl. That how does that work? Physics has left the building.
And how that girl ran away slamming on doors, and
Nobody
also
came out.
no one came out. And also, to be fair, if they're maybe the most robust nuclear bunker doors ever, next time you walk in that door, you're gonna see the blood stains on that door. You're not gonna go and say, "Oh, not again! The poor, she's bleeding everywhere." Aye. So it's comment below, guys, what you think happened. I've watched this film 8 times. And
I've watched it once.
See, uncultured.
One time.
But every time I watch it, I develop a different opinion of it. I'm interested in what you guys say and what your opinions of it. Comment below and we'll discuss it next week. But I think it's time to wrap up, bro.
Bro,
you're my
yeah,
bro.
bro. Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, time to wrap up, bro. What are you doing tonight, bro? Just being a bro.
Bro.
Hey, bro, close your eyes. Bro, what do you see? What do you see, bro?
I see a number 4.
No, bro. You're meant to say you see nothing.
That's bro science.
Bro, close your eyes and say you see nothing.
I see nothing.
Bro, that's my world without you, bro.
My brain's sore.
Bro. Sorry, that was just a meme I recreated. So
Bro.
anyways,
Yeah, bro scientist right there.
bro.
But that's the end of the Late Night BS podcast, guys.
Episode uno.
Yes, the first episode. So
Episode 2 is coming sometime next week. Next week sometime.
Yeah. Well, it's Halloween coming up, so we could do a Halloween special, guys.
Spooky
We could talk about some scary stories.
Yeah. Let's do a spooky special next.
We'll do a spooky special.
On the 31st.
Yes. If you give us enough likes and reviews,
5-star reviews only. 5-star reviews only. This is only.
We'll get dressed up for this event.
Yeah, we'll get dressed up.
Yeah, rather than my James Dean look and
I think I kind of look homeless, to be honest. Just picked up this shirt,
it looks like he's trying to copy Aaron Marino.
I look like a homeless dad.
Elda. So yeah, James Dean. Yes. So if we're next, we can do some scary stories and some interesting talk about that.
Yeah, some spooky, scary skeletons.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is the end of the podcast. You want to go and do the outro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we actually don't have much to say because it's the first one, and yeah, as Mostyn said, give us 5-star reviews only 5-star reviews. We're available to listen also on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, hopefully Google Podcasts. We'll see where we can be. Where we can be, we will be there. So if you don't want to listen to us a video, you don't have to. This video podcast was sponsored by absolutely no one apart from Orcadian Alcohol Pies. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Tune in next time. Hopefully we'll do this podcast about twice a week. If not, sad times. We'll see what happens.
See ya, guys. See ya, bros.
See you another time.
Bro science is the future, guys.
It is the future. I have a doctorate in bro scientist.
That's what
Bro
bro scientists are the future.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Talio.